Hello, I'm Rob Jones, and joining me is Mansour Faried, Chief Engineer and Corporate Engineering Director at China State Construction Engineering Corporation Middle East. Mansour is one of our shortlisted candidates for the Construction Technology Leader category of the 2021 Construction Technology Awards. The awards celebrate new approaches and best-in-class use of technology within the built environment. In this category, we've shortlisted the leaders who have successfully led the planning, adoption, or use of digital technology in the built environment. The winner will be announced on the 2nd of June during the Construction Technology Festival in Dubai. So Mansour, reading up a little bit about you before we met, I saw that it was talking about how you like to have a flexible approach to technology, but also at the same time make sure that that technology is really meeting the company's needs. So when you're considering the use of a new construction technology, what are you looking for to be convinced that it should be used?
Okay, first, thank you, Rob, for having me today. We are talking about applying technology and innovation in construction industry. And we all know that the construction industry is characterized by being conservative. It is not one of those technology industries which is able to accept innovations and new approaches. From here, the point of flexible and the lean application of the technologies come from. We need to understand why the industry is conservative, and how to make it able to accept new technologies when it comes to innovation. Since I am the director of the engineering department, my department is in charge of innovation across the entire company with all its aspects, from applying technology and also innovation in process and in administration as well. And I am coming from the site. So originally I was a site engineer. I'm coming from the site, and I know well how those construction activities are administered and controlled between the laborers and the engineers and the managers and the consultant and the client, and so all this background is what give me the ideas how we need to make the technology and application of the innovation flexible, just to go along with the project objective. When I'm talking about flexible, is not to enforce, because when it comes to enforcement with such kind of conservative industry, it will face a lot of resistance. Especially this industry is related to huge investment. There is a huge money put in construction. It's not like any other industries. And then you need to custom made the technology application just to fit according to the project objective and the client needs. We notice at a point of time that the industry has no other choice than moving into digitalization and to accept the fact of being, since everything around us is getting smart, our mobile phone is getting smart devices, our TVs are smart, our building also are getting smart. And this is our product in construction industry. And it makes no sense to make a new product and make a new element using the conventional method we used to have before. So even the tools which we use to build the building or to make our products need also to be a smart tools. I joined the company in 2014, and at that time, the company was very ambitious in order to open wide for the new technology in construction, which is mainly the BIM application. But it was facing a resistance on how to justify the monetary value of application of that BIM. Why whatever conflict or whatever problems we can find using computer, why we cannot find manually? Why we need to invest on that?
Are there any projects that you've done recently where construction technology has been pivotal that you're particularly proud of?
There is so many projects indeed. Now, if I want to just to give an example to justify what we are talking about here, it was the Act 1, Act 2 project in the Business Bay. This project, our client is EMAR, and the requirement from the BIM which come at the beginning was pretty extensive, to the extent that people start scared. Are we able to implement BIM with that way across the entire project cycle, which is not only stopping in the coordination? At that time, we start talking about the 4D reporting, we start talking about the development of shop drawings out of the model, and also using the BIM model itself for facility management at the end. Actually, we look on that and we start sitting with our client and our people and start sitting, okay, this is a big process, but let's take piece by piece. Let's look what we need to come out from each process at each point of time. And accordingly, we can customize the process just to fit the purposes. Maybe one other project also, I can give another example, is the MTP project, which we have. Actually, our company is undertaking the most complicated packages in this project, which is the roof steel structure, the huge, massive steel structure part, and the MEB. And this is the airport project. This is the main terminal building in Abu Dhabi, main airport. Such a project with just such a scale to be able to manage the process of the BIM, not only for coordination, but also for design, and also producing the drawings, fabrication drawings, and installation simulation, because we know with the steel structure, we need to do a lot of simulation to make sure that all the design assumption has been made in very close to what will happen in reality.
With Act 1, Act 2, that you've used it across all the stages right up to and including FM. Not many organizations are using BIM FM at the moment. What prompted that?
Well, that's the client intention. To be honest, this is one of the things which we need to give the credit back to the client, because they intend to, they also realize how things will be changed in the future. There is no facility manager will be working conventionally just a few years after now. All of them now are getting themselves equipped with the knowledge, and all of them will be able to manage their buildings within the environment of the BIM. And then we just highlight to our client at the beginning is, now you need to get those facility managers to sit with us and let us know what exactly they need to utilize the BIM for. Accordingly, only the information they are looking for, we can make sure that it's implemented inside the model. Otherwise, we can put some data and they are looking for a different data. Whatever effort we are doing is waste, and whatever objective they are looking at the end is not achieved. This was one of the really successful examples which we are talking about. We customize the BIM modeling just to fit what is the facility manager looking for.
When you started in construction, were you always interested in the role that technology could play to aid construction?
All the time, I have a trouble with the matter of efficiency. How we can increase the efficiency, because efficiency is what could determine at the end if the company could make a profit or not. At the end, this is an industry, it's a business driven. If the company is not achieving a certain good profit at any level, if survive today, will die tomorrow. So even whatever assumption you make good at the tender stage, at the pre-construction stage, if you are not able to maintain the efficiency assumed and improve it, you're just sacrificing the profit margin which the company would have. From the day I was on site after I moved to office and start looking after that, all the time I keep in my mind how we can assure the efficiency, number one. Number two, how we can improve it. And since I'm coming from sites, I'm knowing well that the construction industry has two major arms. One, which is the direct construction activities, which related to the block we put on the top of each other, or the concrete which we are pouring, or the steel which we are fixing. And there is a lot of non-construction activity, not less important than the construction activity. In fact, this is the one which is leading to delay. So I kept in my mind, and I undertake the responsibility of how to tackle this non-construction activity first and try to improve them. How we can increase the efficiency, how we can shorten the time, which is not adding direct percentage on the program. Mainly is the work which is done in the office, the review of the drawings, the approval process, the continuous rejection and comments on a conventional and traditional method on a paperwork coming here and there. Sometimes even when they put the comments on the drawing, it's not clear. Our teams cannot read what the consultant means. And they make another revision, and then another comment come, and every time of those submissions take like 2-3 weeks. We are shifting ourselves to the digital era by utilizing whatever collaboration platforms like Aconex, like BIM 360, and so. And not only this, just to put our work on a common environment where everyone can access and everyone can do his work at the same time, we managed to achieve a huge overlay and parallelizing the activities which used to happen before in sequence. But at the same time also, we are converting a lot of paperwork into a paperless process, which definitely is an environmental aspect. But aside from that, also we cannot forget it used to be a big cost and big risk if there is something happened to this paper environment. Actually, this focusing on that non-construction activities and try to improve the efficiency on them, directly cutting the critical path of the project. We noticed this in multiple projects, and one of the main function my department used to do is to organize an annual technical conference. This is a practice we started in 2017, and last year, 2020, it was the 4th edition. Last edition, we tried to put the theme about the construction efficiency, the relationship between the time and the cost. And eventually this theme, we come out after analyzing one project where the client came with a certain target rates he need to achieve. And we find the only way to achieve this target rate, that very low target rate, is just to make the project in a very short time. It was very interesting how the time would make the impossible possible, and how those time constraints, which we believe to report them as challenges, is the only way where we can make the business model of the project succeed according to what the client looking for. And to do that, we analyze, as I said, the activity, the construction and non-construction activities. We find that tackling non-construction has in at least 70 to 80% of the time which can be saved, compared to other construction activities, which also still can be improved using certain technological aspect, but that is not really giving that much big value, same like those non-construction activities, if we manage to improve their efficiency.
So what skills do you think have got you to this point? You know, what skills do you think you're calling on all the time?
I would say that, again, as I said, because I'm coming from site, this is the first thing. It's all the time, the management is a skill itself. I understand that, but again, still management need to have certain knowledge inside. And without feeling what is the real problem is, you all the time will be thinking around and a little bit far away. So this is one of the things which I believe. Second, and it is evident that it is never been a complete idea from one person. It's a different brains, and when the different brains thinking at the same time, everyone put a small fragment to complete the entire idea. And this is the methodology which I set up along with the team I used to work with, that every time everyone is able to improve the idea of the other one. When we set up this brainstorming session, it's not a new technique, but it's found to be very successful when it comes to area where we don't know which direction to move. We set up and everyone start putting fragment of idea, and then once we reach again to the first one, already we have a one round which is ready to be evolved and improve and improve. All the time I'm telling our team that if we know how to do the things better, that's no longer became an option, it's became mandatory. If we can improve, definitely we have to do. If we have the ability, then we must do it. And if we don't have the ability, then we have an area to learn, because we reach already a certain end, that end which we need to open a new road for ourselves to move on. I believe along with the team, which I used to have here, actually my team is almost fixed for the last 5 years. Hardly some of them can be changed. This team now, I think now we already reached that harmony where we are able to put all those fragments together and achieve the right direction.
Do you think we're reaching a point where digitalization is mandatory, and if you're not if you're not highly digitalized, then you're unlikely to win the tender?
I don't think even you have a chance, because before it was an option and you either to opt for it or not. Nowadays, it's not an option, it's just a qualification. Either you can be qualified for that or not. I don't think if we take that step of educating our team and transferring our team from being a 2D and conventional team into a modern technology-driven BIM modulars, that on that time itself we could be standing here. We will not. Actually, even we will be finding hard even to understand what is the client requirement. When we read what the client asks in tenders, we will not be understanding that. There is a new terminology, even the language which we are using on sites now got to change. This concept of the Internet of Things, now everyone talking about Internet of Things. The Industry 4.0, now everyone is talking about that. If we are not familiarized with this, and if we are not putting ourselves well on the beginning of the track, I think even we will be speaking different language. We will not be able even to attend meeting with our current clients and consultants.
You've named a couple of technologies that are obviously coming to the fore now. Are there if you look forwards over the next few years, are there particular technologies that you see becoming much more prevalent and kind of almost dominating some parts of the construction cycle?
If you ask me about the technology of future, which might be again different to what the people think, but either we like it or not, 3D printing is going to be the future and tomorrow of construction. This is not going to be a choice. Why it is not happening fast as much as we expect? I, on my personal level, believe that there is a wrong perception about this technology in the market, and it is misused so far in the way that is not getting out the best value of what this technology can introduce. Same also as how the prefabrication used to be misused. Now, prefabrication start putting itself on the right track. I believe also 3D printing very soon will put itself on the right track, and this will be the standard of construction. Just until the people realize what is the real value they can achieve out of it, and how to understand the limitation of this technology and how to work around it, and how a standard and regulation became available, which can facilitate the environment from all those different parties of the industry to work together under this technology. You will see very soon how this 3D printing will be producing different kind and different design of buildings, not similar to one which we are using conventionally. When the concrete came, the shape of the building changed, and how they used to build out of wood or out of stone before. Along with every time a new technology came, the shape and the design and how the buildings looks like also getting a change.
See, I think that's really interesting, because I agree with you that 3D printing is clearly the future. And what will be interesting is as the industry starts to move away from maybe a reliance on concrete and looking at other materials that it can use, and starts to embrace shapes that it couldn't previously do easily. Where are the limitations? We're seeing quite a lot of good examples now, particularly here in the Middle East, of 3D printed buildings. Do they now need to start getting bigger, more office or residential, but just bigger units to become more accepted?
Every building you are printing, or every element you are printing out of this printing production line, I would say, you have now the leverage to make it different and make it unique. You don't have to stick to any kind of modularity or repetition to what you used to have before. This is the main thing and main value of the technology, where all those people looking after this technology need to realize. And once they realize this, they will start seeing that, yeah, there is a great advantage here than just omission of the formwork, or on just saying that we are printing concrete, or in just like we are shifting the printer onto site. You need to see first from the beginning of the stage how to design buildings suitable and matching of the technology itself. The technology has a limitation when it comes to material, especially if we talk about the concrete, because I don't want to be too technical here, but you need the material to come out from a nozzle with a certain fluidity. But this material, once come out fluid, it needs to be hardened very quickly. And after that, you need to use the same layer to put the top layers on the top of it. It's well known that if you let the material harden quickly, you're losing the final strength. But if you also let it harden softly and take more time, it will not be able to support the next layer. The ambient temperature is affecting the situation. The length of printing affecting situation. A lot of limitation coming out along with this technology. And that's why we need to think on how to write up the proper regulation which can mandate all those situations. Still, we are not able to, you put the rebar inside. So the concrete itself as a concrete, we all know it's good for compressive strength. It's not able to take moment. There is no logic to design buildings which intentionally meant to take moments out of this technology, where we can design in a different way. In the ancient days, when they cannot put a horizontal surface, we all know they come up with the dome concept and vault concept to come over that. Why you are not able to do that today? We need to be smart and understand what is the limitation, but that will not happen unless we bring those specialists along with those guys working on site, sit them along with the designer in day one, and let the designer understand why they are using this technology, what they need to bring out at the end. Then only they can achieve as those unique buildings which I'm sharing with you. Actually, I think after the meeting also, I can share with you a couple of experiments or a couple of examples which we made along with some of the partners in the local market here. And from the first glance, once you will see how the building looks like, you will realize this is something different. This is not just because we are not pushing the technology beyond its limit. It's just because we understand what is the value this project, this technology can bring up, and we are just focusing on that. Then only this could be materialized.
Mansour, thank you very much for your time and good luck with your shortlist for the Construction Technology Leader Award.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate your time today. Thanks a lot.